Hello, and welcome to the MedPace Reference Lab sponsor portal demo. This is an overview of some of the, just a little bit of the functions that are available within the Clintrak Lab sponsor portal area. Just a word about this portal. This is available to all external users who are associated with a given study that has a portal built within Clintrak Lab. Sponsor, CRO, and site level users will all receive access to this. Sponsor and CRO individuals are granted wide access and are able to see data from the entire trial, where site level users are restricted to only their subjects and the results from there. So we'll move through the different tabs here and just sort of summarize all of the depth of information that's available in this portal as your trial goes along. So we land on the welcome screen here. Once you navigate to the portal in your drop-down area here, you always have these couple of screens here. When they're in an active study, they will reflect the MRL holiday schedule and the hours of operation. You then have a couple tabs you can click on. The contacts tab will list your project management team as well as some of the MRL functional area leads there, give their contact information. The documents section will list out study-specific documents like your lab manual, quick reference chart. A PDF copy will be uploaded there, as well as some regulatory items such as MRL's accreditation certificates. Those can all be referenced in the documents section. I want to move over to the lab reports and flags section. This is probably the most practically useful part of the sponsor portal. It will default to the daily lab reports section, and this is where you are able to find, as it says, lab reports for any subject in the study. You can see a wide range of filters there where you can pick a date range that you want to search, different types of reports. If you want to search every site, a specific site, specific subjects, countries, these can all be filtered down to be able to locate an individual lab report. So once you set the specific filters that you want to use, you can hit apply, and here we will search all available lab reports. They'll list here showing you the site, the PI's name, the different subjects and visits. If you come over here, you'll see a summary of flags that are available on that lab report, including low or high results, notable high results, or eligibility flags. And then here you are able to download a PDF copy of that report for your own review. Under lab reports and flags, we have a couple other useful tools here. We have our cumulative view that will allow you to select a specific subject and see all of their results in a cumulative table. You must select a site and a subject, and then you can hit apply and are able to review multiple visits and the results from multiple tests right here in this table. And you have the option to save them as a PDF or as an Excel. This also has the option to download an entire site's cumulative data, but that only exports as a PDF. You can't view that in the table below. You also have the option here to view problem sample reports. Problem samples are those that are tagged by the MRL unpacking team when they notice that there has been some issue in sample preparation or transport. They are flagged that way and still moved to the lab to be analyzed, but they will have the disclaimer on there that perhaps they were shipped frozen when they shouldn't have been, or were clotted, or something along those lines. That is automatically reported out to the site, and you can find a copy of those reports here in this screen. Move over to our next area, which is protocol management. This lands on the progress screen. We'll always default here the first time. This gives you the ability to track individual subjects as they move through the study. You hit apply filter on this screen, you will see it update with all the individual visits that have been programmed. And then it gives you a summary count of the number of subjects who have progressed through a certain visit. So site 8 here has had 3 subjects do visit 1, and so on. You then have the ability to filter down to an individual site by checking this box. And not only will it show you the subjects, it will now give you their individual IDs and the dates that their visits occurred on. So you're able to track people that way. And from over here, you can download an Excel file of that. The other applications under protocol management follow the same sort of idea to help you track where you are within your study and where certain subjects are as they move through the schedule. So the first one is milestones. Once this area has been activated by your project management team, it will create a live chart that shows the number of, for this one has screening and randomization, but individual milestones can be set up and it will graph a chart every day based on the previous night's reporting to help you track how close you are to certain milestones within the study. The next tab here is exclusion summary, and so that will actually produce for you a listing of all of these subjects who have hit an exclusionary lab result. It will tell you the name of the test, the specific exclusionary criteria that the test qualified for, and it will show you the specific result at that test. They're all summarized into one table. So under protocol management next, we have schedule of tests. When you come here and apply the filter, it will show all visits that have been programmed and then where the individual tests that are being run from specific samples appear at each visit. You have that in a nice summary table that is able to be downloaded as an Excel for your review. Next tab, lab kit expiry. All MRL lab kits that are provided have a lot number and an expiration date on them. This reflects reports that are sent out to the sites that notify them that they have lab kits on site that are going to expire within the next month, and it instructs them to reach out to MRL to order more of those lab kits. You are able to review any of those reports that have gone out to those individual sites here, so you can help track and support your sites as their lab kits approach expiration. The subject visit forecasting is a future feature that we hope to activate in Clintrak Lab, where it will sort of combine the information from the schedule of tests and the progress and be able to, as it says, forecast forward and predict on what date and when subjects will arrive at their next visit. So that's something to look forward to here in the portal. This last one, cumulative sample listing, is a very useful tool. You can set it, again, all the filters are available to pick specific subjects or sites or time points, but this will allow you to look at every sample that has been received for the study and track its details and its status. You can see the site that it came from, the subject it was for, the visit, the sample barcode, and if it is listed as missing, it was not received, it's been reported out on a lab report, it's in the lab to be processed currently when you check the report. This is, again, with all filters on every single sample that is active for the study. Move to the next section here, graphing. The graphing app within the graphing tab can be used to produce mean results for any test within the study. You do have to, at a minimum, pick a site, and then you can hit apply, and it will start to, again, these are mean values now that it's calculating. So if you want to track averages across different values of note within the study, you can look at those here, or you can use your filters to go down to specific subjects and track them that way as they move through the study. The next section, the query builder, this is one of the most powerful tools within the sponsor portal that is available to all our users. This allows you to build your own set of values to be able to track information that might be pertinent to you as you look at people moving through the study. And now we'll look at an example of how you can use the query builder to set up custom report tracking or custom subject tracking for items that are important within your study. So by hitting the add button, it will activate the query builder and give you a extensive list of different criteria that can be combined to create these custom reports. For this one, we'll build an example with checking for people with low glucose. We first have to tell the system that we want to look at the glucose test. So we can click that here from this panel of all the available tests. And then come down here to the test clause filter and find the glucose test that we want to look at from the available test list. And then you're able to set the criteria that you want to call low, high. Most of these are based upon the upper limit or lower limit of normal. And so for here, we will say someone who is less than or equal to, you'll put in your operator. So 1 times the lower limit of normal. Hit add, and you'll see that criteria drop in here in green with the word where. So it's setting the criteria where a subject has glucose less than the lower limit of normal. For this example, we'll leave that as our only criteria. Hit the save and back button. You should now see in this drop-down menu, the query that you created has populated here. You can hit apply filter, and it will now find every subject who matches that criteria. We only have one, but it does show us the subject's ID, the visit, their site, collection date, and what the glucose level was, 40, which is less than the reference range right there. Over on the right, you can use the magnifying glass to pull the actual report that was sent to the site that reflects this information. Well, that's a very simple example. There are plenty of ways within the query builder to expand your queries to make them more complicated and track different criteria together. We could go back in and either click add to create a new query and keep the low glucose query we just made and make a new one, or we could go in and edit to change the parameters on that one. So let's make another with a little more complicated, and we'll look at some of the different lipids tests that are available in here. Perhaps we could take a look at someone who has uh, high triglycerides and LDL and low HDL. So we can begin to build that by searching out those tests here. There is a text search filter here that will then start to uh, move down the criteria that you've typed in. So we'll pick our HDL, triglyceride, and LDL. In this section, we're just telling the system that we want to look at these specific tests, and then we'll give it the criteria further down as to what we want to see. You have additional boxes over here where if you wanted to track this at an individual site or pick individual subjects, or perhaps only at certain visits, you could additionally filter down to those different things. Maybe you only want to see people at screening who hit these criteria. You can use these other boxes to make the query go even deeper. So we'll use our test clause filter again to set this part up. Now we'll go to the lipids filter and pick out the tests that we selected here. Start with triglycerides. We have all of our different operators there, as you can see in the dropdown. We'll just go with anyone who is above the upper limit of normal. Now we have this operator here at the end that is and or. So you can build stacked criteria together where for your one query, it's all of the criteria have to be met, or if any individual one is met. For this one, we'll set it to be and so that we have them all together. So triglyceride is the first criteria. Come back for our LDL. And we'll leave the operator as and because we're going to stack all these together. And we'll pick out our HDL. And we'll set it to be lower than the lower limit. Leave the and. And now for this query, we're going to track all of these things together because we left the ands in. All three of these have to match. This is a common setup here for people who might be at risk of stroke or a heart attack. And so we can use this query to check and make sure that we're not seeing that in the study. So again, the save and back button will take us here. We have our new query loaded up. We can hit apply. And good news, nobody in our study is at risk of that now based on the results that we have. So that's just a couple examples of what you can build with the query builder. There are several other criteria that you can add in. You have a section down here, the alert clause filter. It will let you pick different levels of results. If the results were high, critically high, notably high, you could build those in there. You can add demographic levels on if you want to track all of this for subjects of a certain age or a certain gender. You can build that through here. You also have eligibility, so that's going to be where we program any inclusion and exclusion criteria into our Clintrak Lab portal. You can then use those as filters for an extended query. And one of the best parts about the query builder is that if you find it to be useful, you're actually able to assign it to other people who are able to come in and view it. So if you're working from the sponsor side and this is helpful, you can create this and collect and click sponsor users, and it will list other people who have been granted external access, and you can assign it to others. And when they come to the portal and to the query builder, it will already be there for their use. So that's just a couple examples of this very, very powerful tool that comes standard built into all of the Clintrak Lab sponsor portals. And then finally here you have the subject listing, which is exactly as the name suggests, a comprehensive list of all of the subjects who have had at least one visit in the study. It will show the site that they're from, their subject ID, their date of birth, and their gender. This is an older demo that reflects initials. We are, of course, not allowed to collect initials anymore. That will not be active in a new live study. Moving now to the archive section, this tab will default to biorepository sample counts, and this will produce for you a listing of every sample that is stored in the MRL biorepository. It will also show those, not just those that are stored, but any that have been shipped out to third-party labs or other holding labs that you've designated, or those that have been pulled and moved into the lab at MRL for analysis, or perhaps pulled and destroyed when the study is over. You also have the option here under archive acknowledgements to review the reports that are sent out to sites that acknowledge for them that biorepository samples have been received and are now in storage at MRL. Those are listed in there for your review as well. Final section here, order supplies is actually a brand new feature that just became active within the Clintrak Lab sponsor portal. And this allows sites to place supply orders here online within the portal. Sites are always provided with a paper copy of a resupply form, and they're able to call MRL to place orders, but now they're able to place them here within the portal, and the MRL project management team is able to review those orders as they come through and send them through to the logistics team. So this should make ordering supplies far more efficient for sites, and it allows the PM team to have any oversight should there be specialty supplies or we want to manage quantities that are going out to sites as well. And so that is a very brief overview of the incredible amount of information that is available within the Clintrak Lab sponsor portal area. This will be, again, active to any and everyone who is a part of your study that is using Clintrak Lab.